Depending on where you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to the Wristwatch News Channel. I'm Nick, and this is the Thorn SHY033, which is a Blancpain 50 Fathoms homage, and I believe it's homage in the aqualung from a little bit later in the 1950s due to the dial design. If you're new to the channel, come on in, make yourself comfortable, pull up a chair. Sit down next to me, come on. We like to talk about watches on this channel and watch accessories. When it comes to watches, it doesn't matter if they're automatic, quartz, sundials. It's all about the watches, you know. We're watch enthusiasts here, so if that's your bag, you're in the right place. Returning subscribers, you know I always love to see you. You keep on coming back again and again. But whoever took the lamp last time you were here, I expect it to be back where it belongs by the end of the day. So the SHY033, of course, being a Blancpain 50 Fathoms homage, is a new watch released by Thorn, and serendipitously has been released the same time that Swatch and Blancpain have decided to do a collab like they did with the Moon Swatch, and that's collab rather than collab. I'm not sure what collab means. The Thorn is a 316L stainless steel case, bead blasted with like a satin bead blast. And the Swatch then, of course, is bioceramic, so plastic again. The Thorn has an NH35 in there, you know, reliable workhorse Seiko movement. And the Swatch has the System 51, which is an automatic movement, but it does utilize a lot of plastic parts, which include the balance wheel and the pallet fork. Now, if you work on watches, you may have just thrown up in your mouth a little, because that's not a great thing, really. But the System 51 hasn't been designed to be a movement that you can have serviced. It's a throwaway movement. The same as with the collab. Why do I keep saying collab? It's collab. Collaboration between Swatch and Blancpain, as it was with Swatch and Omega. The watches they're making are designed to be throwaway watches. You know, that's the whole point. Although they do push the sustainability with the Blancpain using recycled materials, which is interesting. But there we go. I'm going to put a link to a teardown of the System 51 movement in the description. It's worth having a read. The watch guy, and he does a teardown of the movement and shows you all the bits. And yeah, have a look. Make your own mind up on that one. So is the Thorn a worthy competitor? And I know you've been waiting for it. Will it be a thorn in the side of Swatch and the other 50 Fathom homages that you can pick up from AliExpress? Or is it just a little prick? Before we have a look at it, I've reached 1,000 subscribers! Thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone that's subscribed and stays subscribed to the channel. I know I don't put out content as often as other creators do, so I really appreciate everyone that's subbed and has stayed subbed. Thank you very much. And as a reward, I have mentioned in previous videos, I'm going to give away the Sea Stern Glashütte homage that I previously reviewed. I did say I was going to give it away a while back, so it's not as such a desirable piece now, but that's what I've got to give away. So what I'll be doing is create a separate video where I just announce the giveaway, and you need to comment on that video, and then I'll do a separate video where out of those comments, I'll then choose a winner using a random comment picker, all to try and prevent any sort of scams or anything going on, you know. Monkey Punch 1984, you were my 1,000 subscriber. So as a little thank you to you, email me at the wristwatch news channel at gmail.com and send me your address, and I'll send you a little something in the post. Okay, now let's have a look at this Thorn. What do you get if you buy a Thorn SHY033? Well, you get a carry case. One of these black plastic transit cases that most of the AliExpress watch companies still use. Some have upgraded them now. Sandman got a really nice leather one, but a lot of them are still using this because you can transport the watch, gets to you, good order, it's nice and safe. You got a signed warranty card as well, which is always a plus in my book. Never like it when they put in a blank one. Never see the point. And that's pretty much it. And of course, you have the watch wrapped up in a bit of plastic, just wrapped around it. It's not covered in it. And there it is, the Thorn SHY033. Let's have a look at the specifications and measurements. So from the Thorn website, what the watch model number we have here is SHY033, and it's got a Japanese NH35 automatic movement. It's 316L stainless steel, 120 click unidirectional bezel with ceramic insert. We've got a mineral crystal with AR coating, a water resistance of 200 meters. It does state that it's Swiss C3 superluminova, but I do know that the Chinese have their own version, and of course it's like an old radium style. So whether it is Swiss, I don't know. Got a screw down crown and a screw down case back. So the watch dimensions then, we've got a case diameter of 40 millimeters without the crown. We've got a lug to lug of 50.2 millimeters, a case thickness of 13.5, and a band width then, a lug width of 20 millimeters. And we've got a weight of 78 grams, and that's including on the fabric strap. The Thorn SHY033 has a 40 millimeter bead blasted satin case, very reminiscent of a Squale 152, the Satinato. And the purchase options have followed the Henry Ford model of selling. It's solely available on a black canvas strap. The Thorn is around $100, about £80, not including custom tax if in the UK, and that's on AliExpress, and it's $129, about £104 on the Thorn website. There is a new customer $10 off code on Thorn site, which would bring the price down to around $119. There is currently an AliExpress sale running, and Thorn have thoughtfully bumped the price up in the sale. So I would suggest waiting until the sale's over in this one, to be honest. If you buy from the Thorn website, they do offer a 3-year warranty, which is really quite good. Whether you get that same 3-year warranty if you buy through AliExpress, I'm not so sure, because of course, different sellers on there. If you buy directly from the Thorn official store on AliExpress, you should get that same 3-year warranty. So as I said, you've got the bead blasted case, which has got quite a satin finish to it. Catches the light really nice, but it's not quite in keeping with that vintage vibe, but also it is at the same time. It's an interesting look. It works for the watch. You've got quite thin lugs in keeping with the vintage style, and they're drilled, which is a godsend. I do love drilled lugs. As it is supplied on a black canvas strap, which is actually quite good. It's a decent strap. It's not the cheapest one in the that you get from AliExpress. It's a simple crown, small crown, not signed, again in keeping with that vintage vibe. Seiko NH35 power in this one, with a beat per hour of 21,600. It's got a 41-hour power reserve. The hands, painted white pencil hands with old radium style lume. An arrow seconds hand with arrow lume plot and diamond counterbalance. So the dial is a black matte dial with painted white minute track and numbered markings at each 5-minute interval. The 12, 3, 6 and 9 printed numerals are in old radium with a triangular lume plot then within the minute track. Thorn and Thorn Rose logo printed in white above the pinion, and 200 meters, 660 foot automatic Exploration Road printed in white below the pinion. I messaged Thorn about why they put Exploration Road on the dial, and this was their exact reply. We need to inject some elements of exploration into this watch. Thank you for your advice. We will improve it. So I'm not sure what advice I gave there, and I still don't know why they went with Exploration Road. Covering the dial is a domed mineral crystal with a sapphire coating and a decent amount of clear AR. I didn't pick up any sort of reading of sapphire when using the tester. So how much sapphire coating is on there, I can't really say. A solid case back with the Thorn rose and an etched idiom, where there is a will, there is a way. Again, why that's there, no idea. The bezel is 120 click unidirectional lume filled black ceramic bezel. All right, lume test time. So the lume is decent. It's not brilliant, but it's all right. I filmed over a 10-minute period, which is roughly about 4 to 6 human eye hours, and it lasts the full 10 minutes, so it's going to last throughout the night until the early hours of the morning. Being old radium, the lume, of course, is not as good as something that had filled indexes, you know, with like bright white lume. But of course, then it's all in keeping with that vintage aesthetic to the watch, as it is homaging a vintage Blancpain 50 Fathoms. So I got it up against here an old San Martin. The hands aren't San Martin hands. I did replace those at some point. But the dial, and as you see, they both kind of last the same amount of time, really. So, you know, props to San Martin there, because that's an old dial, and they had pretty good lume back in the day. This watch, of course, is homaging the Blancpain 50 Fathoms, and Blancpain introduced about 20 versions of the 50 Fathoms between its introduction and into the 70s. I believe this particular Thorn is based on an Aqualung from 1958, as the indexes are closer to the style of the Aqualung than some of the other earlier 50 Fathoms. If I'm wrong, of course, please let me know in the comments. So the Aqualung was a 1,000-foot, 300-meter diver, whereas the Thorn is a paltry 200 meters. Many 50 Fathoms were produced in the time radium was still being used, and most examples that have survived today have heavily patinated lume, which Thorn, of course, have tried to replicate here. The 50 Fathoms is well known to being the first ever dive-specific watch, beating Rolex Submariner by a year, so it could be considered the Mac Daddy of dive watches, which is probably why Swatch, after the success of the Moon Swatch, have now decided to milk this particular Mac Daddy like it has been with the Mac Daddy of moon-related watches, the Speedmaster. If you wanted to buy an original vintage 50 Fathoms in good condition, you're going to be looking at around $30,000 as a guide price. So that does make this Thorn for $100 quite the deal, really. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So good, they've got the vibe of a vintage 50 Fathoms down pretty well. Sometimes I look at it and I feel like it is like old new stock. The raised numerals are nice. I'm not usually a fan of ceramic bezels, but the glossy ceramic bezel here does a good job of imitating Bakelite, as does the mineral crystal, as in imitating a plexi acrylic crystal. But to be honest, I personally would have preferred if they just used an acrylic crystal. Yes, it would scratch, but you can polish it out. Whereas if this mineral crystal gets scratched, it's not going nowhere. Now, it does say it's got a sapphire coating, but like I said earlier, I got no reading when I was using the tester. So how much sapphire coating they put on there, I don't know. It's got drilled lugs, which is definitely a positive point. The bad, so as I said, I would have preferred an acrylic or sapphire crystal rather than mineral, but then that's a personal preference, as mineral is technically better than acrylic. So that's up to you there. Ceramic bezel on a vintage watch, it does replicate the Bakelite though, so I can let that slide. Our hand isn't quite right. Here's a picture of a WMT Blancpain homage. And here, the hands are perfect, in my opinion. Whereas the Thorn Hour hand is like a bit too thick, a bit too rectangular. Let me know what you think in the comments. Ugly, there's not really much in the way of ugly. There is a little bit of lateral flex in the bezel, but then I've seen Omega divers with the same kind of flex, so it's not really an issue unless it's the kind of thing that bothers you. So how does the Thorn compare to other 50 Fathom homages which you can get on AliExpress? Well, you've got the Rudnyi R6 TR, which has got a 40mm case, a mineral crystal, 200 meters of water resistance, 19 mil lugs, and then that's running an NH35. And you can pick that up for about $140, £115. Then you've got the Steel Dive SD1952, which has got a 41mm case, sapphire crystal, 300 meters of water resistance, 20mm lug width. But then it's on the more expensive side, running an NH35 at $190 or around £150. You've also got then the Corjo SNQP, which has got a 45mm case, sapphire crystal, 50 meters of water resistance, but 23mm lugs. Massive case, massive lugs. It's running an NH35 as well, and you're looking at about $110, £90. That's it for today, guys. Thank you again for joining me for this one, and thank you for helping me get to 1,000 subscribers. Again, I really appreciate it. Please let me know in the comments whether you are going to be picking up a Thorn or one of the other AliExpress options for Blancpain homages, or are you going to go camp out and get yourself a Blancpain Swatch homage? It's not homage, is it? Well, I suppose it is homage in a way. It's homage in itself. Blancpain, well, Swatch it. Yeah. Let me know if you're going to get one of those. Speaking of which, the channel Shiny Things has got a great video where he's picked up 2 of the Blancpain Swatch collabs. And he does a great video where he reviews the watches, and he's also got a moon swatch, and he does a comparison between the two. And it really shows how the new Blancpain collab is a lot better made than the previous moon swatch. It's worth checking out, even if it's just to hear the way he says watch. I love it. It's one of the reasons I sub to his channel when I come across it. I just love how he says watch. Just check it out. He's really good. I'll put a link in the description. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and also tell like-minded friends about the channel. It'd be great to get more people on board. There are affiliate links to the Thorn and the other AliExpress watches that I've mentioned in the video. If you're going to be picking up this Thorn or any of those other watches, it'd be great if you could use those links. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does really help the channel. So as I mentioned earlier about the Sea Stern giveaway, I will be releasing a separate video for that. So keep an eye out and just put a comment in there, and then I'll be able to, select a winner. As I mentioned as well, I will not scammers everywhere. I will not contact you directly, nor will I message you in the chat saying, "Woo, you've won." No, you've got to email me at the wristwatchnewschannel@gmail.com. That's going to be how it is. So if anyone messages you on the chat, pretend to be me saying you've won, it's not me. Okay. Thanks again for joining me for this video, and I really hope you'll join me for the next one. I've been Nick, and this has been the Wristwatch News Channel. Cheers.